The Global Alliances for Banking and Values is a network. I prefer to call it a movement of banks from across all the continents in the world who represent a different way of doing banking, in which people, the prosperity of communities, and the planet are put first. So we talk about mission-oriented banks, in which, of course, we look for profit, but profit as a consequence of doing the right things and to really serve people in each country and each community. Our intention is to be a role model for other banks, so that we, by showing what we do, the way we do it, we also attract the attention of other banks, other regulators, and other banking associations, so that we can provoke a systemic change in banking. That's basically what we are for. If you look at banking all over the world, we probably have like $130 trillion in assets managed by banks all over the world. Imagine the power of this $130 trillion put at the service of people, of improving the life of the communities, of eradicating poverty, of improving, the cleanliness of the planet. So a positive change in banking is to try to really push, and we try to do it with our example, in order to move as much as possible as those banking assets into positive lending. So we lend to projects all over the world in which poverty eradication, environmental issues, social inclusion, community lending is at the top. And that's a real major change. Well, there are two kinds of relationships that depends on whether you are a depositor, so you have your current account or your deposit account, or you have a loan that you receive from the alliance. I mean, for the persons who are trusting their money in our banks, like Centenary here in Uganda, we really try to build a very special connection, because we use that money for the good. So your depositor, you have your savings, and you have those savings in Centenary Bank, as an example. And because our banks are fully transparent, that we are devoting this money to things that are meaningful for the country and meaningful for the communities. The loan portfolio should not only be in the real economy, but should mainly have a triple bottom line approach, which is that we look for those loans that create positive transformations, I mentioned, either because they help to eradicate poverty, or to empower women, or to improve the situation of agriculture, or to improve the environmental conditions of the country. So we very specifically look at those things. Our third condition is that the bank has to be very transparent, and we look at that. We look at that very much. And it's not only about regulation, it's not only about disclosures, it's about how the bank is communicating its stakeholders and its clients what I'm doing with the depositors' money. This is key, because we are financing the loans with the depositors' money, and we need to tell our clients, hey guys, that's what we do with your money. The fourth criteria is that we look for long-term relationship with clients. So we look in depth into the sales and commercial policy of the bank. How do they engage with the clients, so that they really try to build a long-standing relationship with them. It's not like only a transactional thing. It's not only a commercial thing. We really trust, and we really want to have the clients around. As Centenary says, it's our bank. And that's the kind of sort of motto we really love. The fifth principle is that our bank has to be very resilient. So it's not only about doing the right things, doing the sort of banking that promotes positive change in the economy, but we have to be very professional. Our banks need to be more solvent than the average, normally going even beyond what regulators are asking us to do, have a better liquidity buffer, and be at least as profitable as the average. So we need to really be profitable, because if we're not profitable, we cannot continue performing our mission. And the sixth and last principle is that we look into the culture of the bank, because at the end, all these things happen if the culture of the bank, and it's not only about the CEO of the board, it's about every single officer in every office. They should really feel that this is the way that we have to bank, because this is what it's meaningful for society and for our community. So we look into those 6 principles, and we have our own tools. We look into KPIs, and we have lots of discussion. And if we feel that a candidate bank is performing that way, we invite them to join. So it takes a little bit. It's not like, somebody asks us to join and we just go immediately after that. It takes a little bit.